What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here with another live stream for you guys. We're going to be recapping the Brighton game last night. We've got ratings, reacts, and we're going to be looking back at what happened yesterday and what we can learn from it. We've got Amir in the house to go through what happened yesterday in what was a good comeback, a good performance, but ultimately we didn't get 3 points. Amir, welcome back to the channel. Lovely to see you as always. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
Thank you very much, Sim. I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good off a nice little break. And look, I'm sure we'll get into everything that happened yesterday, but I think overall it's a point well taken at a very, very tough ground away from home, and a fight back from our team. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get into all of it.
Yeah, look, obviously yesterday, as you say, 2-0 down against Brighton, ended up coming back to 2-2. Some very interesting comments from Thomas Frank post-match. He said it was Tottenham's most complete performance of the season, and especially offensively, our best performance, despite the fact we conceded 2 goals and were 2-0 down. We came back and obviously got that draw. What did you make out of those comments from Thomas Frank? Because it's quite interesting to, on the face of it, from the outside looking in, he's saying a 2-2 draw away at a team like Brighton when we were 2-0 down. He's saying that was our best performance of the season when we've obviously beaten Man City away 2-0. We've obviously we took PSG right to the wire. We've had beat West Ham away 3-0, beat Burnley at home 3-0. But he said this performance was our best performance of the season. What did you make out of those comments, and do you agree with him?
Look, in terms of the fight back, it showed something that we haven't seen so far under Thomas Frank. We went 1-0 down against Bournemouth and we couldn't really fight back in that one. So in terms of a fight back, it was our best performance. But in terms of overall, I do still think that the kind of 3-0 win away at West Ham was very, very significant, as was the away win up at City. But I think what Frank was really trying to get at is the overall performance of the team and the fluidity in the ways we were moving the ball. I mean, you saw when Xavi Simons came on, I thought we were really, really flowing and we were creating chances, and he was getting into really nice pockets with Kudus, cutting the ball back in. So I think that's what Frank really liked, and I do think on any other day, Sim, we would have come away with 3 points from that game because we had some chances to score more goals, and I do think the second goal, 9 times out of 10, I do think your keeper should be saving that one. So yeah, I think there's so many positives to take from that game.
Yeah, I think for me, when it comes to how we played on the ball, in terms of how threatening we were looking, how we were getting in behind them on the kind of underlaps and overlaps out wide. When, as you say, when Xavi came on and Bergvall came a bit deeper, we were kind of opening them up really significantly, and especially given the fact we were 2-0 down. In fact, I didn't think we deserved to be 2-0 down when we were. I thought it was a bit harsh on us. I know they kind of exploited a very high line for the first goal, and as you say, it was a bit of a howler for me from Vicario for the second goal. Every keeper in the league should be stopping that. I think Vicario, even Frank admitted it after the game, he should be saving that. So I think we were actually the better team when the game started. I thought we started bright. Doggy was roaring down that left hand side. We were looking really promising. If the cutbacks were just a bit better timed, or the runs, were a split second difference, millimeter different, we could have been ahead ourselves. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. They exploited us and went 2-0 up. But I thought that was quite harsh. And we didn't let our heads drop. We battled back and we just kept playing our football. We kept doing the right things and the chances ultimately came. I thought we 100% stepped it up a lot more when Xavi came on. I think he changed the game really when he came on. He just gave that a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of magic in that number 10. That little, that ability to take the ball on the half turn, weave in between players, create something out of nothing. That moment where he had that shot from the edge of the box, which Verbruggen saved. He just took the ball from the left-hand side, just weaved inside into the box. No one could get near him, and unfortunately his shot was tipped wide, but really good effort from him on that occasion. Even the second goal, the way I think he weaved in between 2 players, sprayed out wide to Kudus, who ultimately his cross led to the own goal. So that little bit of sparkle, coupled with Bergvall, I think, elevating his game once he went deep, he became like a new player when he moved deeper. I thought when he was in the 10, not saying he's been like this in general, but yesterday when he was in the 10, he was a bit out of the game, wasn't really working those tight spaces, wasn't getting things right. His touch was a bit off. Once he moved a bit deeper, I think he became a new man. He was getting stuck into tackles. He was driving forward. He was picking the ball up off the centre-backs in the deeper position. I think he felt a lot more comfortable, and it kind of just led to the team being so much more fluid, and Kudus was causing havoc down the right-hand side. Udogie was causing havoc down the left-hand side. Javi was causing havoc down the centre. And it seemed like every way we went, they didn't know how to deal with us. And I think from that point of view, that's probably the only time this season when I think we've had a threat from kind of every kind of stage of the pitch. Whereas I think in previous games, it's like, okay, when we attack down the right, we look threatening, but down the left, it's been breaking down, and down the centre, we've been struggling. But I think, would you agree, this is probably the first time we've seen all around the pitch we've had threats?
Yeah, it's almost, it's that those threats linked up in that game, whereas other games before it was a bit patchy, we might get something from a set piece. And I do think the key to all of that really was when Xavi came on and moving Bergvall a little bit further back. The midfield that I'd like to see going into that Wolves game next week is probably something along the lines of Paulinho, Bentancur, and then Bergvall in the middle, and then Xavi in that 10. That's where I kind of want to see him week in, week out. I think is where he's going to be the most useful and at his most dangerous. And then with the threats we've got on the wings with Kudus and whoever's playing off the left, whether it's Odegaard, Tell, or someone like Johnson, I think we've got a lot of threats, and I think we will start to see the interplay and the link up play coming along a lot better, and chance creation as well. I'm looking for my boys to take more shots from the edge of the box. Xavi, that was a really great save by the keeper to keep him out. We've seen Sarr hit a few from outside the box. We know he can hit them. I want to see Kudus as well. Try and get on that score sheet. Have some long shots as well. And I think the more kind of tools that we have in our kit with regards to the attacking, whether that's from corners, long throws, crosses, Kudus cutting it back, long shots. I think that's all going to help us moving forward and trying to really do something here with Frank. And I'm liking what I'm seeing, Sim. To be honest with you, I'm feeling really confident about the future. I also think we've done pretty well in the market with the players that we've brought in. So I'm very positive about the future and about where we're going as a club. Of course, we've had major changes up at the top as well with Daniel Levy leaving. That's another huge positive, in my opinion. So yeah, it's really exciting times at Spurs.
I agree, and people like in the lead up to this game and the previous games, because I've been saying in the games beforehand, kind of, yes, we're winning and it's great, but still we're not seeing probably enough on the ball, enough ability to create chances, enough maybe good enough ball progression or build up through the thirds and stuff like that. And even though we're not showing that and we're winning, that's great, but we still want to see that improvement. But I did think we did see that improvement yesterday, even though we didn't win. So, I want to give praise to that. And I think Frank, it was interesting. If you watched his press conference yesterday, he seemed really excited with what he saw, and he seemed really, really happy, which is odd considering we didn't win. Albeit, obviously, coming back from 2-0 down, claiming a point against a good team like Brighton should be something, which, at the end of the day, that's not an easy thing to do, and you commend the team for having that mentality of just keep plugging away, especially once it gets into like the final 10 minutes and we're still 2-1 down, and you've just got to keep trying to find something. And we did. We just kept doing what we needed to do on the pitch, kept asking questions. We never dropped our heads. And so I think Frank liked their mentality, but I also think he really liked what he saw from our ability to attack down the right with Kudus. We had also Porro pinging those long passes over the top to Richarlison at times. You had Udogie flying down the left-hand side. You had Simmons in the middle. So I think he really liked that dynamic. I think it was leading to a lot more fluidity within the team and a lot more ability to kind of attack the opposition. And it looked a lot better on the eye. And I think Frank, he was really excited with what he saw. And that excited me. the fact that he was seeing what he wanted to see. Because he admitted, like, against Villarreal after the game, he was like, look, good win, but wasn't the best performance. Like, he's admitted that even when we're winning and getting good results, he's kind of come out and said, look, the attack isn't where we want it to be. And so I think it was great for him to acknowledge, even though we didn't win yesterday, that is what we want to start seeing from our attack and from our forward players, that kind of fluidity and that kind of chance creation. And that kind of ability to hurt the opposition from multiple different angles, because that was something we've been struggling with, I think, throughout the season so far. And yeah, I think I'm very excited with what I saw yesterday, even though we didn't win. And I think, yeah, albeit we didn't get the 3 points, I think there's a lot to be excited about by the way we came back and the way we attacked Brighton. And I think we were the better team. We were unlucky not to get 3 points yesterday, I felt.
Yeah, no, I agree, Sim. I really do. And again, like I said earlier, I do think that on any other day, we would get the job done. Vicario's mistake really was a howler. To be 2 down was really,
And it
you
ended
know,
up costing us, didn't it?
it did. It did. Look, I feel like, if we go into that half 1-1 and we start, I think we go on to win that game. But look, the signs are very, very positive. We got to also remember that we've got some players that are out that are going to be huge for us coming into the run-in of the season. You've got Kulu, Madders to come back. You've got Muani who was out. So there's a lot of positives. And I do think though that the main reason why Frank was so happy with that performance was the kind of interplay up at the front. Where as soon as Xavi came on, you really saw us kind of flowing with Kudus as well down that right, causing havoc every time he was taking his man on. You can see what we're trying to build. It's going to take a few more games. It is early stages here at the moment. So
I mean, evidence of that is, yesterday it was a doggy's first start under Frank and
yeah,
Odegaard's first start
yeah,
under Frank. Players are still getting their first starts, like, for the
exactly.
manager. So that's how early we are in this tenure.
Very, very early. So, it's gonna take, I'm asking the fans to be a bit patient with the whole project. We're off to a decent enough start.
Well,
We're
second in the
playing,
league.
yeah, we're playing well. We won our first Champions League game. We've got Doncaster midweek that, I'm hoping some of the younger players will get a chance to shine. And hopefully we get a result there. Then we move on to Wolves, which is, a potential banana peel. But hopefully we'll get through that. And then, we move on to more Champions League. So it's a work in progress, Sim. It's a work in progress. I think mainly for us fans, we just need to get behind the team, get behind Frank, get behind all the players, the new boys. Put our arms around them as much as we can, and yeah, build off success in Bilbao. I don't think people quite equate how big of a moment that was for us in Bilbao to get the monkey off the shoulder. It's a European title. And it really does kind of lay the foundation for what we're building here with Thomas Frank. So yeah, I'm really, really positive. And I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, 100%. I think Frank has started really well, and it is a great result, and it keeps us obviously in the league. It's only 5 games, and it's hard to take too much about your league position. But we are second in the league at the time of recording. Obviously, Arsenal could overtake us with a win or a draw later. But I think Frank, at the beginning of his tenure, I don't think we could ask for much more in terms of what he's given us so far, results wise. And also just tightening up that back line. I know we conceded 2 goals yesterday, and I think maybe obviously the first goal we were just caught out. Van de Ven jumps where maybe he shouldn't jump. And I think Udogi's caught up the pitcher. Odegaard is covering him. Odegaard just doesn't track his man, and it was a bit of a mess. But the second goal, that's not really a chance, is it? That's just a pot shot from 30 yards. That should never, and it should never have gone in. Vicario's got to say that. Apart from that, I don't really remember too many real clear-cut opportunities that Brighton had. They had a couple of efforts from outside the box, which nearly caused us a bit of trouble. But apart from that, I still think we defended quite well yesterday, especially in that second half. So I still think that defensive solidity is there, which is good. And so once we start seeing a lot more of the attacking fluidity we saw yesterday, it's really going to be something to behold. So I'm really excited about what I'm seeing. And I kind of agree with Frank when he said it's our best performance of the season. When it can't, I think, I guess depends what you want from a display. Was it our best defensive display of the season? I mean, maybe not our best, but it wasn't our worst. But when you couple the fact of how good we were going forward and how we were able to hurt them and how much control we had, I would say as a complete picture, I think there's an argument to say that. I think maybe Man City should probably say, because I think we were so solid defensively and we were a threat going forward. But then again, I mean, we probably conceded more chances against Man City than we did against Brighton, even though we conceded 2 goals. You know what I mean? Because City had probably had that one-on-one, which Vicario had to save. Like we did concede some chances. So I think sometimes the performance doesn't always equal the result. I think that's what Frank's trying to say. And I think yesterday was a real step in the right direction for me, despite the fact we only drew. And look, going away to Brighton, there's no disgrace in getting a 2-2 draw, is it? It's not like it's a terrible result. There'll be a lot of good teams going to Brighton and not getting the result. Man City just a couple of weeks ago lost 2-1 there. So it's not an easy place to go. So to go and come back and get the draw when you're 2-0 down, I think we got to take a lot of credit and a lot of positives from that one. And I think it's definitely a point gained rather than 2 points lost. Do you agree with that?
Oh, fully. Amex, very difficult place to go. Most of the big teams, struggle to come away there with points. So, yeah, we fought back really well. We take the point, we move on. I think we've got some really important games coming up, and it's just about getting ourselves prepared and ready for those now.
As you say, we've got some really interesting fixtures between now and next international break. Our next 4 fixtures are Doncaster, Wolves at home, Bodo away, and Leeds away. So a real chance to build some momentum if we can start getting on a string of wins. Look, obviously you look at those fixtures, and we're obviously favourites for all of those fixtures, but Bodo away can always be a tricky game. I know we beat them last season, but that can be a tricky game. Leeds seem to be on decent form, so going away is never going to be easy. Wolves, I know they've lost every game, but Dr. Tottenham rearing his ugly head, you can never be too sure about that. So there are obviously reasons to be fearful we're not going to win all of them, but surely you've got to be looking at that run and think, before the international break, we could be going into October with some serious momentum behind us.
We could, but let's take it game by game, Sim. For me, Doncaster's that's the one we need to be focused on now. Get that one out of the way, and then we move on to Wolves, which is that's a huge banana peel right there. Everyone expects us to get 3 points. They're usually the toughest games. We've been scarred by Wolves in the past as well. We just got to keep focused and be professional about how we conduct ourselves going into these fixtures.
Yeah, absolutely right. All right, that is how we saw the game yesterday.